Well, good Friday morning. First Alert meteorologist Jacob Durham here with you with your First Alert Weather Extra on this Friday morning. Certainly looking a lot better than what we had the past couple of days. This time, the past couple of days, we were talking about our dense fog advisory just now beginning to kind of exit the area. Now it's more so we're looking at 10-mile visibilities for everybody out there, which is great news in that regard. And I think we'll continue to see that as we're going throughout the afternoon hours as well. That being said, satellite and radar, here's what we've got going on across the region for you. One thing that we are watching is a cold front that is diving southward with time. We've got this cold front that is beginning to approach the area across much of the region. And what we're going to be watching is this to slide southward with time. So if we look at the big temperature map, what's going on is that areas to the north, like Oklahoma City, have been falling all morning long. They were actually warmer at midnight this morning and then have fallen throughout the morning hours. And that's going to happen across much of Arkansas, the northern half of Texas, and eventually it'll fall down here in southwest Louisiana as well, but not until we head closer towards our Saturday morning. Here's your cold front, kind of elongated. It had some big hail-producing storms yesterday from, say, Chicago south into the northern half of Indiana, Illinois, as well as Ohio. So we saw that. And then thankfully today, these showers and storms, they're not severe. It's just some light to moderate rainfall at times, showcasing you some of the light showers from Washington. And then we got a little bit of that light to moderate rainfall back across portions of Missouri as well, and then back over into Illinois and Kentucky. So with that being said, quiet weather across the west. That's good news. We actually have a little bit of wintry weather up to the north, up towards portions of Minneapolis and Minnesota there. But that's we're going to stay well to our north. But we're going to feel a little bit of a chill here in southwest Louisiana for sure as we're heading into tomorrow morning. First Alert radar, very quiet. No showers, no downpours to talk about this morning. I don't expect rain to be a big factor for today. As we look at the visible satellite imagery, the clouds certainly are building pretty quickly out there for us this morning. And that'll continue to be the case as we're going throughout the afternoon hour. So the fog that we did have this morning, that is burning off. You can actually see a little bit of it to our north and to our east. And that's going to be back across this area here. Here's some of the fog and the cloud cover that we have there, and then more of the clouds that are pushing in to the region now. 75 in Lake Charles to 72 in Jennings, 75 in Sulphur to 67 in DeRidder, 72 in Fort Polk. So it's certainly kind of a warm stretch of weather ahead for us already out there for you this morning. And that'll be the case as we're going throughout the second half of the day as well. 76 in Abbeville to 73 in Lafayette to 72 along the Cameron coastline. Looking at the last 24 hours, the temperature change map, 2 to maybe 3 degrees out there for you is kind of what we're looking at for the time being. And that is certainly something that we're going to be watching closely for you as we're moving forward. That being said, winds around 5 to 10 miles per hour out of the southerly direction, occasionally gusting a little bit stronger than that, mainly along the I-10 corridor. And that's why we didn't have a lot of fog out there for you this morning. Areas inland had more of that fog, still where it's calm. Now we'll get that mixing to come down, and eventually we'll see those winds kind of mixing in for areas like DeQuincy, DeRidder, Oakdale, as well as Fort Polk as we're moving forward. That being said, dew points right now are sitting back in the mid to upper 60s. So as we look at the dew point change map here in just a moment, these values are pretty much going to be 0 or maybe 1 or 2 degrees above. And that's because we haven't seen a whole lot of fluctuation. That nice southerly flow has brought back as much tropical moisture as it can. And that's why we're expecting these values to hold steady, and these numbers will be greatly reduced as we head into tomorrow morning. So a big negative drop there in that regard. Futurecast will show you temperatures back into the mid-70s out there as we're heading closer to our Friday afternoon and evening. Temperatures back into the low 80s out there. A southwest wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. We'll be back into the low to mid 80s out there through your Friday afternoon. Here comes your cold front, though, as we're heading closer to 9, 10 o'clock tonight. It'll arrive a little bit sooner for areas inland back up towards like Vernon. That's where we could already see by 10 o'clock a pretty strong northerly wind around 15 to 20 miles per hour, occasionally gusting a little bit stronger than that. And then there's some showers and downpours that could arrive as late as midnight tonight, and then those will push off to the south and the west, and then we'll eventually see maybe a little bit of wraparound moisture. That's one thing that models are kind of hinting at now that's a little bit different than where we have been sitting, but those wind gusts 25 to 30 miles per hour will certainly be a big factor for you in the long run. Mowing forecast Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. That's what we're looking at. We're looking in the good category, and that'll certainly be something that we're going to be watching closely for you there. Tonight's forecast, 55 degrees, a northeast wind around 13 miles per hour. Temperatures will begin to fall as we're heading into the overnight hours, back into the upper 50s for you, and that'll certainly be something that we're going to be watching closely there. Low temperatures over the next 10 days. We're back in the mid-50s as we're heading to Saturday and Sunday. Low to mid-60s on the way into early next week, so that is certainly going to be a little bit of a warming trend. It's not going to take long for that southerly wind to begin to return across the region, so that'll certainly be something that we watch closely for you moving forward in time, but at least as at this point, I don't foresee much of any major concerns as you're stepping out the door for any significant weather impacts, which is always going to be some welcoming news. So next 3 days, 75 degrees on Saturday, 80 degrees on Sunday. Monday is sitting at 82 as well. So we are warming things up out there for you. The lower humidity will certainly be back around as well, and that'll be something that we're watching closely. Year-to-date rainfall just shy of 5 inches below average in terms of that year-to-date departure, so that'll be something that we're watching for you there right now, and that's kind of where we're sitting at least for this particular point in time. Cold front dives in from the north. There it goes. It's going to push things down for us, and that's going to be how things are kind of sitting for the time being. And then high pressure builds in, keeps that northerly wind around for Saturday, and then eventually for Sunday we'll have that wraparound moisture kind of working its way back in for the areas to the north, and then showers and storms will certainly be kind of more of a factor as we're moving in to next week. Now, one thing that we're going to have to watch closely is exactly which model pans out correctly. This model by far is more aggressive, and I'll show you here in just a moment. Let me make sure I can pull up Tropical Tidbits. Somebody was watching something over here on this, and I got to figure out how to get out of it, so give me just one moment. There we go. We'll go to Tropical Tidbits. That way I can pull this up for you, and I'll show you what the other model is showing to kind of give you a contrast of what's been happening. But this model is certainly more ambitious on the idea of a lot of widespread rain. Would not hate this model at all. Be very happy if we could get some widespread rain with several rounds of that slow-moving front even after. So right now, kind of a blanketed 20% coverage because of what I'm about to show you, which is a much drier scenario kind of playing out. So here's what we got going on. So let me pull this down for you. Then we'll fast forward it and show you what's going to happen. So that looks good there. So this is going to be as we head into Sunday. So models beginning to kind of assert themselves with a little bit of shower and storm activity. This model brings rain in kind of late Wednesday into the Thursday timeframe, then pulls it back, and it keeps us more unsettled. But note, it's not as widespread as what the other model was. So that's why we're kind of going kind of in a lower range in terms of rain chances right now until we get a higher confidence. But it does look like we're going to get kind of a more unsettled pattern, at least on the way in the grand scheme of things. So that's what we're hoping for, at least in the near term, is that things begin to kind of lighten up in terms of those rain chances. So that's what we'll be watching. This number that you're going to see on this map is not going to be accurate. Quarter to a half inch maybe towards Baton Rouge. But right now, over the next 7 days, at least from the WPC or the Weather Prediction Center, looking only at maybe a tenth to maybe a quarter inch of rain for areas to the north. So that's something that we'll be watching closely. Of course, we'll have 7 News at noon coming up here in just a couple of hours, and then we'll also be taking a look on First Alert Weather Extra coming up at the evening edition. That'll be tonight at 5:30. We'll hope to see you back here on Monday morning at 10 a.m. for your First Alert Weather Extra morning edition. Until then, we hope you have a fantastic weekend. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you back here on Monday morning.